Of course, second chances is important for everybody.
Yes.
We all make mistakes, and we all need to get away from that kind of mistake. And so, because of the culture of our society, more so because we are to a greater extent, a lot of our citizens are poverty stricken. So, if our girls, having been impregnated, is not given that opportunity to further their education, then you know that they will falter once again in poverty, and it will impact another generation. So, hence, our own goal at the organization is to ensure that the girls further their education, and that will eliminate poverty.
So that sounds like you're not only catering to the present generation, where the mothers may become pregnant, but also the next generation.
Certainly, and so that's how we see it. And I want to say, Ricardo, when we find the girls in this situation, we also cater to the fathers,
Oh.
and we do to their parents.
Oh.
Yes, so it's not the mother, the young girl alone. We encourage, we invite the parents because they themselves are going through some challenges, and the father.
And so that helps the unit as a
And
whole.
it does help the unit, create some stability,
Yeah,
of
indeed.
course.
When we talk about the assistance, is there any age limit?
Okay, yes, up to 19.
Okay.
Up to 19.
Okay.
Initially, we had started at 16 because, the legal age
Right.
is 16.
Right.
But because the age of, the students being in school is longer, we are up to 19 now.
And after they have had the benefit of, for example, I see that you assist them in completing their secondary education. Is there any contemplation if they're still within the necessary age for reintegration in the high school system? Or
Oh,
they
of
do
course.
Okay.
Yes, it's natural. Once they are within the age group and they can go back into school, yes, the integration stands. Yes, it's a policy.
And for anybody who is listening now and who may find themselves in that difficult situation,
Right.
who may want some assistance from the foundation, how do they reach out?
Okay, excellent question. So, what we say to the community and to Jamaica at large, so any young girl you would have seen in that position, whether it is 13, 14, 15, whatever, encourage them to find out more about the Women's Center. We have 14 centers across Jamaica, the head office being at 42 Trafalgar Road, and I would say to them, come on in. We have a range of services that we offer. One, primarily reintegration back into the school system. Two, psychosocial counseling and mentoring. And we give this to the family
Yeah,
unit.
yeah.
And so I would encourage, and anybody would say, just encourage them to come along.
Yeah.
We have testimonial that can speak to what it is that we have done. And I would like to add that the counselors do not leave them once they go back into the system.
Oh.
They stay with them onward.
Oh.
Yes, because we have to ensure that they are wholesome.
Right. And that sounds like it takes money to
Oh, it
execute that,
does.
which is why we're having this
Which
call, I
is why
imagine.
part of
Yeah.
why we're having this charitable,
Right.
Ricardo.
In my time, when I was going to school, I can vividly recall girls getting pregnant. And oftentimes that was seen as a deal breaker, the end of the road. Life
Yes.
was over.
Right.
Do you find that attitudes are changing in terms of how we judge girls who find themselves in that position?
Yes, over time it has changed, like many other things. I want to think because of education. I want to think because of the globalization. A lot of people see what's happening in other countries. And two, because our girls have been success stories. So they go out there and tell what they have been transformed from to what they are now.
Right.
And so that helps Jamaica to accept. And also, let me just add, part and parcel of some of the situations that we have really is really forced upon some of our young girls. Really. So it's not that they are, in quotation, bad.
Right.
But
And it's important that you say that because that was part of the idea when I was in school.
Right.
That somehow is a fall from grace, and she's a shameful young lady, and she should be ostracized.
Right. And I want to tell you, Ricardo, I was one of those persons because
Ah.
I have two daughters.
Yes.
And, every time I would just in their head.
Yes.
It cannot happen.
Take your
It cannot,
book. Take your book. Yes.
right.
Yes.
But I have learned and I've grown to accept that, and maybe because I'm exposed to it.
Right.
But some of these girls, when you talk to them, oh my God, they would, if they tell you their story
Stories,
and
yes.
what they wanted to be and how they become what they are,
Right.
it make your heart
Yeah,
cry.
yeah.
Really.
And I think it's important for Jamaicans to know that and for communities to offer support.
Yes.
In terms of, so you talked about the family and you talked about the ongoing support that they get, for example, from the counselors.
Right.
When they come into you and they go back to their communities, do they relay how they are perceived? Once they have, for example, given birth to their child and they're able to be reintegrated, do they ever relate to you what the experience is
Oh,
like?
of course, we have testimonials that you will see later on. They come into us because we don't leave them alone, you know. They come into us and they would continue to speak to what they have. So we have done, you know,
Right.
methodology,
Okay.
trying to fix what has happened over time in terms of what it is that we need to do as an organization to ensure that persons are aware of what the girls go through and how to treat with them. So yes, they do.
Nice. If any of my listeners and my viewers are not here tonight and they hear about the work that you're doing and they think that is something I want to support, how do they offer support?
Oh, well, what we do have Corporate Jamaica that
Yes.
support us,
Yes.
and you'll see that here tonight, Ricardo. And so our appeal tonight is to say to everyone that is listening, we at the Women's Center require your help in
Yes.
ensuring that these girls fulfill their dreams.
Yes.
And part of their dream is also making sure that they have a very good education. And you and I know how expensive education
Absolutely.
is. And so part of what we're doing here as a charity ball is to ensure that we fulfill that objective.
All right. So Novelet Howell is the executive director of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. We're at their charity fundraising ball. And let me tell you, I have to say it again, listen, them look good. Them look good. And of course, we're going to hear from the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, who's the keynote speaker. Of course, the center falls under the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. We'll have so much more for you in this special weekend edition of Nationwide at 5, broadcasting live from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in St. Andrews. Stay with us.
Anything you want done, baby, do it now. Stop buying expensive toner cartridges. Global Ink is now selling new factory direct generic toners. Remove factory seals, install and print. Engineered to work first time, every time. Certified for use in HB and Brother printers. Worry-free, affordable printing for your peace of mind. Money saved is money earned. We deliver island-wide. 754-7444 or 1-888-NEED-INK. Never run out of toner again. Global Ink.
Nationwide 90 FM is at it again. Team Revolution will clear every hurdle and sprint to the finish line as we cover the games of the 33rd Olympiad from Paris, the city of love.
Winning by daylight and setting a world record, 9.68. The wind is okay.
Nationwide's coverage is powered by our diamond sponsor, KFC. It's finger-licking good across all locations island-wide.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me. Let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Numbers too big to ignore, and I know too much to go back and pretend. 'Cause I've heard it all before, and I've been down there on the floor. No one's ever gonna keep me down again. Whoa, yes, I am wise, but it's wisdom for the pain. Yes, I paid the price, but look how much I gained. If I have to, I can do anything. I am strong, I am invincible, invincible. I am You can bend but never break me, 'cause it only serves to make me more determined to achieve my final goal. And I come back even stronger, not a novice any longer, 'cause you deepen the conviction in my soul. Oh, yes, I am wise, but it's wisdom for the pain. Yes, I paid the price, but look how much I gained. If I have to, empty. I will love you when you're not so strong. I will love you even if you can't see right from wrong. Even though you broke my heart, and I lay here in the dark, tears rolling down my face and flowing from my heart. I will never leave your side, ride or die, right here till the end, my lover, my friend. I'll be there when you're at your lowest, share your bright days and the dark. I'll be there when it's the coldest to keep you warm. I will love you even when you can't. Love me the way I love you. Even when you think it's over, I'll be right there next to you. Even though you broke my heart, and I lay here in the dark, tears rolling down my face, flowing from my heart. I will never leave your side, ride or die, right there till the end, my lover, my friend.
Good evening again. Thank you so much for staying with us for this special weekend edition of Nationwide at 5. We're broadcasting live from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in St. Andrew for the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation Charity Ball 2024 under the theme Together We Win. We are slated to hear from the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange. The keynote speaker this evening will be the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. We'll also, we understand, have with us the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, several other members of the Cabinet lending their support to this second charity fundraising ball. For the time being, I have with me the Center Manager of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation, Charmaine McKenzie. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm okay.
All right. So so as a center manager, you manage one of the facilities.
I do.
Which of them?
Port Antonio.
Port Antonio.
And we do have an outreach in Highgate, St. Mary.
Okay. Oh. And there's a center in St. Mary as well?
No, it's not a full center. It's an outreach station where we operate twice weekly, Thursdays and Fridays.
Okay. So what does managing a center entail?
Okay, managing a center entails recruitment, retention, continuing education, developmental counseling for adolescent mothers. So for the main center, we operate 5 days per week. That's Monday to Friday, where the main thing that we do is to provide continuing education, and we also have a day nursery where the babies of the girls who are in the program, the babies are cared for while they are in the program, and even some of the girls who are reintegrated, those babies come to the center so that those girls can remain in school.
And continuing education, so that means you have a cohort of teachers you hire at the center?
We have part-time teachers.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have full-time teachers, but we have part-time teachers, some teachers who are in service, and some teachers are retired teachers.
And is it that the girls get to, for example, choose what subjects they get to do, or you prescribe a course of study for them?
We prescribe. So at the Women's Center, we offer the core subjects.
Okay.
Right, so that's the English, the math, IT, social studies, HSB, biology, and each center offers a skill. So not all centers offer the same skill. It depends on what is available in the particular area, and as well as what the girls gravitate to in that area.
And how many girls do you have at the center in Port Antonio?
In Port Antonio, currently we have 15 girls on record.
Okay. And is that usually the case, or does the number fluctuate?
It fluctuates.
Yeah.
So sometimes we will have up to 22 girls, but currently teen pregnancy is trending down. Right. So we don't have that many currently like we had previously.
And how do you, in terms of reach the girls who need the assistance? And I imagine you serve the wider parish of Portland.
The entire parish.
Right. So how
parish.
do you reach them?
Very good question. So when we talk about recruitment, we have stakeholders who partner with us and who we partner with. So we will get the referrals, we call it, from the health centers, from the guidance counselors in the school, from CPFSA, from victim support,
Right.
and just the wider community as well. Persons know that a girl is pregnant, they know about the service that is offered at the Women's Center, and they will refer the girls to the center.
Here's a difficult one for you, Miss Mackenzie, because you talked just now about victim support. Unfortunately, part of the issue is that some of these girls have gone through traumatic experiences which results in pregnancy. How do you treat with those girls who on the one hand have gone through this traumatic experience and then are trying now to get an education to reintegrate?
Another very good question. So each center, each site island-wide have on-staff counselors.
Okay.
Right, so the counselors provide confidential counseling for the girls. But
And this is why they're at the center during the day.
That is why they're at the center. But we do have some situations sometimes that is a little bit more than what the counselors who are in the centers. So we have on staff for the Women's Center 2 specialist counselors. So whenever we have those situations, then we refer them to the specialist counselors.
Yes. And do you find that having gone through that process, accessing the services, getting the counseling, the reintegration process is smooth? For some of the
Smoother.
girls? Smoother.
Smoother,
Okay.
right, yes. Because sometimes we do have an opportunity to do a little comparison. So from time to time, we will know of a young lady who never benefited from the Women's Center program, who returned to school, and we realize that the transition for those girls is not as smooth as the girls who pass through the Women's Center program.
And you talked about the nursery, for example. So those who operate the nursery, they are also part-time, or
No.
those are full-time?
The only part-time persons that the Women's Center have are the teachers. Yes.
Okay.
The other staff members are permanent full-time members.
Yeah.
Of staff.
And so I asked your executive director about how important funding is to that, because it sounds like you're offering a lot of services.
A whole lot of
and
services.
I imagine it takes a lot to run the center in
Yes.
terms of financial support. Are you getting enough of that as it is now?
I would say no, we are not getting enough, because one of the things that I never said to you is that as long as a girl comes to any Women's Center facility, she must get a cooked meal.
Oh.
And that cooked meal is free of charge.
Oh, at no cost to them?
No cost to the girl.
Oh.
Yes.
So you're
Because
providing the education, you're providing the nursery support, you're providing the counseling, plus meals.
and sometimes we have to assist with bus fare as well. And that is why the A Stream program comes on board.
Yes.
Because that is what we use to assist some of the teen mothers who return to the formal school system. So secondary, high school, and tertiary.
Oh.
Yes, we assist those persons as well. But we are never able to assist all the girls, because we would want to assist all the girls who return to school.
Right.
Because before they came to us, it was just lunch money and bus fare. But now that they have passed through our system, there is formula and diaper, because there's a baby to take care of.
Yes. And tell me a little bit now about the A Stream program specifically. What does it aim to do?
So the A Stream program, one of the components of the A Stream program is that each mentee, each beneficiary is assigned a mentor.
Oh, okay.
To ensure that not just that the person is being assisted financially, but so that the person will get some motivation, some encouragement, and so on.
A
Because
role model of
sometimes,
sorts.
sometimes the going really gets tough.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yes. And a girl may want to give up. But there is where now the mentor comes in, where the
Give that
mentor
push.
gives that little push
Yes.
and that little encouragement.
Yes. It sounds like you're doing excellent work over there in Port Antonio. If any of our listeners would want to make a contribution to your center or a donation, how do they do that?
Okay, so we operate out of 13 King Street, Port Antonio.
Okay.
And that is directly opposite to Teachfield High School.
Okay.
And the number to get us at It's 876-810-3723. There's also a landline number which doesn't work all the time.
Okay.
But it's 876-993-2133.
Give me those numbers one more time.
876-810-3723 or 876-993-2133.
Yes. All right, Charmaine McKenzie is the center manager at the Women's Center in Port Antonio, Portland. We're here at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel for the Foundation's Charity Ball 2024 under the theme, Together We Win. Keep up the good work, Miss McKenzie.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We take the break. We'll come back with more.
I'm not the sort of person who falls in and quickly out of love. But to you, I gave my affection right from the start. If I have a lover who loves me, how can I break such a heart? But you can get my attention right from the start. How could you come here when you know I got trouble enough? How could you call me when you know I can't answer the phone? Make me lie when I don't want to. Make someone else some kind of unknowing fool. Make me stay when I should not. Are you so strong or is the weakness in me? Why do you
For this, the
pretend to be just passing by? But I mean to see you. I mean to hold you.
coming to you live from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in St. Andrew, where the guests are steadily streaming in for this, the 2024 edition of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation Charity Ball under the theme, Together We Win. We are expecting to hear from keynote speaker, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. Now, we've been talking to representatives of the Women's Center about the work they do. I have with me now President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Leighton Johnson. Mr. President, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Thanks
How
for
are
having
you?
me. I am well.
Well.
I am well.
All right, so I can guess why the JTA is a stakeholder here, but talk to us about why you are here as head of the association.
The fact is the Women's Center does play a role in education. Of course, there are circumstances and situations that will have the Women's Center involved in reintegrating young ladies back into education. And we feel that as a primary stakeholder in education, it would be necessary for us to support this kind of venture. Of course, we know it is not always easy to get young ladies reintegrated into schools after they find themselves in the position of being pregnant.
Yeah.
And because education is the key pillar on which we believe young people will grow and will, really find themselves, it is necessary for us as an association to identify with the Women's Center and ensure as best as possible they understand that we are partners in education as a whole.
Yeah. And what are some of those roadblocks that you found as an educator towards reintegration of the girls once they're pregnant?
There was always a stigma. There was always a stigma in terms of once you got pregnant, no, that's the end of it for girls in many instances. Traditionally, or the culture in our country was, in many instances, when these young ladies get pregnant, the young ladies would have to drop out of school, while the males, if they're school students, if they're youngsters, they would continue their education. We appreciated and lauded the whole reintegration of teenage mothers in schools, a policy position from the Ministry of Education, and it is something that we do support as well. And of course, we had to ensure as best as possible there was a mindset change.
Yes.
Mindset change for all stakeholders in education, in terms of teachers, in terms of parents themselves, and even the young ladies in some regard who sometimes are not really too excited in being integrated back into school. But then this has
is that fear of being reintegrated? Is that because they feel shame or?
Yeah, naturally, based on our culture, you know, you knew the shame that would come if you got pregnant as a teen, if you had to drop out of school, the ridicule, the stares, the look. You know, so it's a part of reintegrating them into that formal education system. And the Women's Center plays a part in this. What we find too is that in many instances, this now presents an opportunity for young ladies who find themselves in this position to become enrolled in the Women's Center. We know too well that in many instances, because they want to remain outside of the radar, they do not get involved in the Women's Center. They stay away, they stay at home until it's time for them to give birth.
Right.
But then the Women's Center now presents an opportunity for them to continue their education up until the time they give birth, until after they give birth, until they can be reintegrated into the full formal education. And this is something that we continue to support as a stakeholder in education.
That's good. You said that the association is keen on mindset change.
Yes.
To change the mindset, to fight the stigma. Are you finding that not only teachers but parents as well, school administrators are starting to accept the need and the importance of reintegration?
Certainly, slowly, but we're getting there. There is a direction. There are signs that persons are becoming a little more understanding. Administrators are working their systems. We do know that in many regards, sometimes a change of environment is always good and in the best interest of this student, this teen mother. So what you'll have are administrators working together to say, okay, this was a student of mine and she found herself in this position. Can you assist us in providing her a space within your institution? And we see where that is working. That's the kind of synergy and cooperation, collaboration that exists between school administrators just to assist these young people, these girls back into school so they can complete their formal education. And there are so many success stories.
Yeah.
There are so many success stories of teen mothers who have turned out to be great individuals who have made significant contributions to the development of various sectors, and their stories are stories that empower other students who find themselves in that situation, as well as motivating others to stay a path and wait until they are in a position where they can plan their families.
And teachers are to be commended, because I was just talking to Miss Mackenzie, one of the center managers, and she told me about the fact that it's part-time and retired teachers in some instances who give up their time to ensure that the girls still have access to education.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is what we have found, is that many of the teachers employed to the Women's Center do so on a part-time basis, or these are actually retirees, members of the Jamaica Teachers Association, and this is commendable. This is noteworthy. Again, once a teacher, always a teacher. Our profession is steeped in care, and that's just exactly who we are. So a teacher will, give off him or herself with a view of ensuring that somebody else will be given a fair opportunity to excel, to grow, to become who it is that they want to be in life, to get a fighting chance.
Yeah. And Mr. President, if there's anything you'd want to see changed about attitudes and how we treat girls who may become pregnant and need reintegration, what would be at the top of your list?
The Women's Center needs additional funding. Within the different parishes, we perhaps do not have enough resources in terms of how the women's centers are teachers, for example, within the women's centers are funded. We'd want them to get additional resources. We'd want the women's center, of course, to have full-time staff. We'd want additional social workers to be assigned to the women's center to assist in the reintegration of these young ladies back into school and to assist in investigating the circumstances surrounding them finding themselves in these positions, and to, as best as possible, get us as a nation to the point where if persons are needing to be brought before the courts, in many instances we find that the fathers of these teenage mothers are adults and they go under the radar. We want our legislation to be far-reaching. We want the Women's Center to have that investigative arm to find these individuals and take the necessary actions against them, because of course we know what the Child Care and Protection Act says, and we know in terms of a child, we find far too many of our teen mothers are mothers for men who are adults, and we have to send that clear message to these men that we need to give these children a fighting chance to grow.
Yeah, couldn't have said it any better. Leighton Johnson is the president of the JTA, one of the stakeholders here at the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation 2024 Charity Ball. We heard from the president supporting the initiative because he believes the Women's Center is a critical stakeholder in education. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
This outstanding 6'4" athlete credits Jamaica with her first Olympic victory ever.
Jamaica is filled with Olympians.
World record holder McKinley dashes into the lead.
We must never forget the forerunners of Jamaican Olympic greatness.
Coming into the home stretch, it's Wint who challenges the leader.
Win or lose, athletes never forget their Olympic experience.
Merely Notty has devastated another world-class field. And Hemmings is going to do it. Hemmings wins it. She's the champion.
Win or lose, Jamaicans will cheer the loudest at the Olympics so that the world will never forget who we are.
And Usain Bolt is moving away. And Jamaica retain their title. And the world record has been taken apart. Oh, I say.
From July 26 to August 11, tune in only to Nationwide 90 FM for the coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, because we're here to ensure that you never forget. Nationwide's coverage is powered by our bronze sponsors: National Road Operating and Construction Company Limited, Digicel, Grace Foods, Spirits of Jamaica, Imperial Optical Jamaica, and Rainforest Caribbean.
Outperform, outlast, with top performance. Jackama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise hammers for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Fancy leg tools, free parts and free repairs. Free parts, free repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-6111-4. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
You're tuned in to a special weekend edition of Nationwide at 5. I'm Ricardo Brooks, and we're broadcasting live from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in St. Andrew. We're coming to you from the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation's 2024 Charity Ball. It's being held under the theme, Together We Win. We will be hearing from keynote speaker this evening, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. The proceedings officially get underway at the top of the hour at 8. But with me right now is project manager at the San Mirna Foundation, Stephen Joseph. And of course, Mr. Joseph and the San Mirna Foundation, they're one of the sponsors of this Bashi, may I tell your listeners, a Bashi affair. Mr. Joseph, welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So, why did you think it important to sponsor this event?
I mean, the Women's Foundation has been doing a phenomenal job over the years, giving at-risk females a second chance to life, and so we only saw it fitting to strengthen this type of partnership, giving young persons a second lease to life.
And outside of your, because I've read about the San Mirna Foundation, almost always lending a helping hand, especially when there is some kind of traumatic incident. But talk to us more broadly about what you do at the foundation.
Well, primarily we focus on health education, and for the last 2 years we've been focusing on burn victims, which we have raised over $2 billion Jamaican dollars to help 3 burn victims: Alisa King, Akela Dunkley, Adrian Aleng, which they're all now back in Jamaica, back in school, doing well.
Yes. And what was the motivation behind establishing such a foundation?
Well, because we see the need and to help at-risk youths, and we see the need to nation building, and so it was only fitting to continue to help strengthen our nation.
How long have you been a stakeholder partner with the Women's Foundation?
Well, we came on this year, because we have been watching the work that they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's no need to recreate the wheel, but to strengthen what is already existing.
And what are some of the? You talked about education. You talked about health. What are some of the other projects that you
Well, I must tell you, this Labor Day we have taken on the Jubilee Hospital, where we'll be refurbishing the labor ward coming up for this Labor Day project. But we have taken a lot of projects around Jamaica, and we continue to strengthen our nation through meaningful projects.
And how does one become a member of your foundation? How does one contribute and participate in the work that you're doing?
Well, you can always call us. We're online, San Mirna Foundation, San Mirna Foundation LTD@gmail.com. And whatever partnership you want, volunteerism, you can send us an email. We'll definitely open up, because volunteerism is something that we always look forward to. Because we can't do it alone, because we have seen where partnership has played a major role in the successes that we have over the years.
Going back to the Labor Day project, why did you choose the Victoria Jubilee Hospital?
Well, the Victoria Jubilee Hospital it's something very important to our island, right? It's the largest delivery hospital in the Caribbean, English-speaking Caribbean, and so we see it fitting in continuing to strengthen the bond, to strengthen the nation, that persons don't have to be afraid to go there, because it's actually first world, first class.
Yeah. And beyond Labor Day, what can we expect from the center?
Lots more projects coming up. But as we go, we tend to announce. But we're doing several projects, not just locally but international as well. And we definitely keep the public informed. But you can always follow us at www.sanmirnafoundation.com, and you can get updates on what we're doing.
All right. So Stephen Josephs, as a project manager for the foundation, walk me through the projects that you are. So for example, the Labor Day activity, that would be a project you would manage.
Right, that would be a project to manage. Ensure that the paint is there, ensure that the volunteers are there. And in terms of where the burn victims are concerned, logistically wise, it's a very tough job because you have to be interacting with both local and international doctors and air ambulance. There's a lot of work.
And those relationships that you have with your overseas partners, is that a charitable endeavor, or you have benefactors from overseas who assist as well?
Well, Brand Jamaica is very strong enough, and we have forged some partnership through Brand Jamaica, and they're eager. I believe that Jamaica is the heart of the world, it's the pulse of the world. So when we go to them with a project, they definitely want to come on board.
All right. So that's Stephen Josephs. He's the project manager at San Marino Foundation. They're one of the sponsors of tonight's charity ball being put on by the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. Of course, listeners, you know about the San Marino Foundation.
Yes.
They do excellent work in terms of assisting Jamaicans. Most recently, we've seen them in the news assisting Jamaicans who have endured traumatic instances as it relates to fires, burn victims, and you just heard from Mr. Josephs that some of the young ladies they've assisted, they're back in Jamaica, and they're doing very well. Keep up the good work, Mr.
Thank
Joseph.
you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
All right, so still here with you listeners at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. It's the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation Charity Ball 2024. I imagine you're hearing the music that's playing. It's the cocktail section of the evening. Around in just about 5 minutes at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock is when the official program begins. Prime Minister Andrew Holness will be delivering the keynote speaker. And if I sounded distracted just now, you can blame Dana Davey, my producer. But we're here at the Jamaica Pegasus today. We'll take a break and come back with more. You're tuned in to a special weekend edition of Nationwide at 5. It's a Saturday, not normally a day you'd hear my voice on the airwaves of Nationwide 90 FM, but it's a special occasion. It's the 2024 charity ball of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation here at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. They're celebrating under the theme, Together We Win. And I have with us now one of the honorees tonight, Dr. Zoe Simpson. Is it Zoe or Zoe?
Zoe.
Zoe Simpson. She's a former executive director of the foundation, the immediate past ED, and she's being honored tonight because, as you can imagine, listeners, the work is difficult work, but it's necessary work. Good evening, Dr. Simpson.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Wonderful.
So, I want to start because I always wonder when people take on these kinds of responsibility, that can be emotionally draining. Let's be honest. It can be taxing. And then there are times when the support and funding may not always be there. What inspired you to take on such a role?
Let me just say that, in my estimation, this is purpose for my life.
Okay.
As to how I got to finding this purpose is the story.
Yeah.
I remember one day I was in Mandeville and I saw, well, first of all, I was guidance counselor at a high school in St. Elizabeth.
Okay.
And a teen mother was brought to us for placement.
Okay.
And I can't even tell you what happened after. In other words, she was a regular student who just fitted in and all. But years after that, I was in Mandeville and I saw a group of girls going up a hill and I'm like, oh, those girls are pregnant. Where are they going?
Yes.
Years later, I saw an advertisement applied and the rest is history. 32 years later. History.
Wow.
That's right. So I felt as though I was ushered into this.
Yeah.
Working with girls at the high school, having done counseling, having had my own close shaves with teen pregnancy myself, pretty much.
Yeah.
I understand how a girl could become pregnant.
Right.
And it's not that she's bad
Yes.
or worthless
And it's so important
or
for us to
doesn't have any
reinforce
ambition.
that. Yes.
Absolutely. So it warms my heart, brother, to be able to walk beside these girls who otherwise would have been on the dung heap of the society, to help them to square their shoulders and to look up and see the sun, and to know that if it rains today, the sun won't shine tomorrow. Somebody has to help the girls to understand that having a child is not easy. It wasn't easy for me as a grayback grown person, let alone those poor little girls who are babies themselves. All they need is the support and somebody to hold their hands and to give them hope and say, hush baby mother, no mind, you can do this. And so to me it's purpose. There's nothing else I would rather do in life ever. I'm happy I found the path and I was afforded the opportunity to do it for all of these many years. It is time to take a break, to rest and find something else. But my heart is still with the program, mind you, because we have to help these women, young women.
I've been asking all the people I've been having conversations with so far this evening about whether you find that the stigma, because I vividly recall going to school and how it was whispered about as a badge of shame, a fallen woman, a fallen girl, you know, she was to be ostracized and set apart and put aside. Do you find, and did you find over your time, that stigma was shifting or has shifted?
It has shifted. Oh, I just love the Jamaican people.
Yeah.
Because we have come of age as we recognize that whatever happens to our children, we must take collective responsibility. And I applaud the Jamaican population, therefore, the governments, whichever ones, and the different ministries, and just everybody to recognize that, once upon a time, we would shun them and think that, well, it's you, get yourself pregnant and so on. We are the ones who impregnate these girls by what we did or did not do. So we must now come together and recognize that, tell you what, if we don't help these girls, you know how we say, dog, nyam the supper. We will never get to Vision 2030. So we have to stop and recognize that it's our responsibility. And so I say, yes, we have come a long way as a society, and I just really applaud us and everybody working together to huddle and cuddle. Not that we're going to say we are women's centers there. We don't want them pregnant. We don't want them pregnant at all.
But the reality is that it's there.
Life happens. And sometimes it's because of lack of information or the bad example that we set ourselves as parents, because we haven't grown up either. And so it happens even. We must now, but it's not the end of the world. We must now come together and say, we're going to fix this. And together we win, together we can.
Yes. That's the theme tonight. Together we win. Over your time at the center, how have you seen it change? So apart from the stigma, what are some of the other ways you've seen it change?
The girls are coming out, are accepting that, I stumbled, this happened to me, but there is life beyond the pregnancy. I can get up, I can brush off, I can get out, I can get on. That change is there. Once upon a time, a girl is pregnant and she's carted off someplace. Now they come to us and say, hey, please help me. So that's one of the change that we've seen. We've seen the change as well in terms of the age group. When I started at the Women's Center, we had average age being 14. Now, when I was there last year and so on, we've seen that there are more girls who are pregnant at 16 plus. And so I applaud the girls too, the students who recognize that their education has value. And so what they're trying, so they want to have sex and so on, but they are delaying and they're more cautious in terms of their sexual behaviors and practices, thanks to some of the other government agencies who, you know, are doing a real good work with that, with the young people as well. So they're older. Sometimes they're already finished or almost finished, you know. So that is another change we're seeing, older girls becoming pregnant. And sometimes they are finished already and so on, but they still need a little help to understand their sexuality and how to behave and, you know, how to mature and get something else. And because education is just so ongoing, lifelong learning. You never stop learning. So we have to help those older ones as well to see what else, as we say at the Women's Center, what else, what next, we must.
And when I listen to the type of work you do at the Women's Center, I have to ask, because I remember a former Prime Minister said it takes cash to care.
It does.
And it seems that you provide all these services, and I keep wondering, are you adequately funded to provide all that you have to and that you do?
You know, again, I applaud the government of this country. They ensure that the Women's Center gets the budget. Minister Grange, she carries Women's Center in her heart. She has a lot of portfolio responsibilities, you know, but there's just something about the girls and how she holds them dear, and the work of the foundation and the government on the whole, and the other ministries and agencies too, and the private sector, which is why I said earlier, I just love the Jamaican people, because we recognize we're working towards national development and the goals, human capital development, and we're doing it together. And they recognize that they have to pour into organizations like the Women's Center. It's 3 sets of generations Women's Center touch at once. 3 generations, 4 sets of persons. If you want to make a contribution to Vision 2030 Jamaica, the Women's Center.
Yeah. Dr. Zoe Simpson is one of the honorees tonight. She's the former executive director of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much. Bless you.
We're keeping it rolling here at the Charity Ball, the 2024 Charity Ball of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation, under the theme, Together We Win. We just spoke to one of the honorees, Dr. Zoe Simpson. She is the former executive director of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. Another honoree tonight is Sandals Foundation. Yeah, they're going to be honored tonight as well. They are one of 3. So we have with us now an accountant at Sandals Foundation, Kira Webley.
Good night.
Hi, Kira. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. So, I know the Sandals Foundation does a lot of positive work.
Yes, we do. We try our best.
And I see it. I see it. So, I'm imagining that you've supported the Women's Center.
Yes, we have.
Why did you think that was important to do?
It's always good and it's always great to support the youth.
Yes.
And we, through our Women and Helping Others Achieve initiative, this is one of the programs that we support to help women be the best that they can be. And of course, young mothers, helping them to get back out into the workforce, helping them to be good mothers. It's a worthwhile initiative.
Yeah. And does the foundation have particular areas that it focuses on?
For this specific initiative, well, we work with the foundation based on what their requests are and how we can meet those requests. We provide equipment. We have helped with providing computers for their labs. We're provided sewing equipment for the young ladies to learn a trade, learn a skill, and just helping to fill in the gaps that we can.
And outside of the Women's Center, what are some of the other projects and initiatives that you support?
Well, our three main pillars, we have environment, community, and education. The Women Helping Others Achieve initiative falls under our community programs. But we work throughout the entire Caribbean. So wherever there's a Sandals or beaches resort, with our partners in different islands, we work with schools, we work with, for example, we do a lot of work with coral reefs, with education on different environmental projects, recycling. It covers a very wide range of programs.
And I'm interested that you said the environment.
Yes.
And that's interesting. Why the focus there? So I get the other two, but why that focus on the environment as Sandals Foundation?
Well, definitely from a standpoint from even just the resorts, we try to make sure that we are not taking out more than we are putting in. But we work with communities. I mean, now it's very tenuous time for the environment, so to speak. So we do a lot of work. We're currently working in Jamaica with a lot of farmers in terms of helping them with water harvesting, best practices to make sure that they can actually meet the needs of the nation when it comes to food security, because that's very important. And we have branched out in doing that across other islands as well. So we started pilot programs here in Jamaica, and we have support from a lot of companies with those initiatives.
That sounds like a part of sustainable tourism.
It definitely is.
Yeah. How long have you been in partnership with the foundation, the Women's Center Foundation?
That's
fine. But I imagine it's a while. If you're being honored as one of the honored.
It has been a while. It definitely has been a while. It has been a very worthwhile partnership.
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of going forward now, what can Jamaicans or just people, broadly across the Caribbean expect from the Sandals Foundation?
Wow. Well, we are in our 15th year. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary this year.
Congratulations.
And we are going out into new arenas, new partnerships, still keeping within our pillars, still keeping true to what we have set out to do. But you can always, we usually look for volunteers, so you will see different projects. Like, for example, we have Ocean Cleanup Day, Earth Day. You can volunteer when you visit the resorts, to go out into the schools, to read to students, for example. And of course, always donations are always welcome through any of our partners and any of the projects that we are working on.
And if persons want to donate, they do that. How do they do that?
Well, you can actually go onto our website. We have sandalsfoundation.org. You can donate through the site. If you come in through one of our resorts, you can donate through the resort. You can go purchases through the gift shops at the resort. We get a percentage of those purchases. Okay. And of course, the Sandals Resort International covers 100% of our overheads, so all donations go to projects.
Nice. So Kira Webley, an accountant at Sandals Foundation. Sandals Foundation is one of 3 honorees tonight at the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation's Charity Ball. Dr. Zoe Simpson and International Game Technology, IGT. They're the other 2 honorees. So congratulations, Kira, and all the best for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. All right, we take the break and come back with more.
Get your domain today at GoDaddy. Ready to take your idea online. Your domain.
You're tuned in to a special weekend edition of Nationwide at 5. We're broadcasting live from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in St. Andrew for the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation's Charity Ball 2024. It's being held under the theme Together we win. And we're pleased to be joined by another of the sponsors of this event, Group Marketing and Communications Manager at the Credit Unions of Jamaica, Katrina Grant D'Aguilar. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5.
Thank you for having me.
Why are you a sponsor of this event?
Why not?
You see, that's a brilliant question. And I do have a follow-up to that. That is a brilliant question.
The Credit Unions of Jamaica, we believe in the importance of supporting organizations that contribute positively to nation building and to communities as well.
Yes.
And for us, the credit union movement, we have cooperative principles. And the 7th cooperative principle is concern for community. So it was quite easy for us to really support the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. And hence the reason why we're on board today.
That's a brilliant answer.
Thank you.
And it goes back to what you asked me. Why not? How long have you been a sponsor or supporter of it?
We've been a supporter for over 15 years. Over 15 years. And even before having an actual gala, we would support, or we've supported by donating tablets to the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. I remember during COVID that we gave out masks because we wanted to ensure that, they were safe. Because, of course, women are leaders of the nation.
Yes.
And when you create an environment for them where they can grow and resources are available, trust me, we're up for great things.
And is that usual for you at the credit unions of Jamaica, that you have that community spirit?
Oh, yes. The credit union started here in Jamaica in 1939, and out of the plight of the people, Father John Peter Sullivan decided to start an organization, a cooperative for the people, for the benefit of the people, and the people continue to remain the center of the credit union movement. So we are big on corporate social responsibilities. It is a part of who we are. At the core, people are at the center.
I love to hear that. What
Thank
are
you.
some of the other projects and initiatives that you support?
All right, so we're big on educational grants as well. Last year alone, the credit union movement donated over $20 million through educational grants and bursaries. We have 25 credit unions in Jamaica and over 1 million members strong. So we continue to do works with even basic schools. So we do have CODEFCO, what we call the credit union, just is responsible for giving out to credit unions, not to credit unions, to basic schools rather. So we believe in education, we believe in fostering a nation, we believe in financial inclusion, and none will be left behind. We don't sell. We're not for profit.
Yeah.
We're for service.
Yeah. For my listeners, what are some of the benefits of belonging to a credit union?
I love that. I love that you use the word belonging.
Yes.
Because it was a tagline that we had. So my credit union or new
I remember it.
Yes.
I remember
so
it.
the benefits of belonging, you're not a shareholder. You are, you're not just a regular customer, what we call in the credit union, you're a member, you're an owner. So we ensure that each and every one of our members within the credit union benefits from the credit union, be it our products and services. We try to ensure that we support them along the life cycle. So, your students growing up, you're going to school, you're going to university, your first car, your first house. A lot of Jamaicans will tell you that them start with the credit union. Of course. And we're a family.
And for those who may not be a member, they'd
Yes.
like to be a member, what do they need to do?
All right, so for the credit union movement, of course, once you want to become a member, more information can be accessed on our website at www.thecreditunionsofjamaica.com. So basic TRN,
Right.
you need your identification, and each credit union, based on the credit union and their rules, their entry, meaning the amount, may vary, but it's very simple. What we call the simplified due diligence, we're really using that now. So we're giving access to persons out there. So we're inviting persons out there, become a part of the family. And I love the fact, Ricardo, that you mentioned the belonging, because this is home.
Yeah.
And we're family.
Do I need to have whole heap of money to
Oh,
become
no,
a member of a credit union?
man. No, man. There's a place for everybody.
Yeah.
And the thing about the credit union, and this is the whole inclusion, the part of it, because we're a cooperative for the people, it doesn't matter how much money you have within the credit union. Unlike other financial institutions where the more shares you have or the more savings you have, then you get more. For everybody, it's equality right across the board. So when we talk about even voting, because as a member of the credit union, whether you have $500 or you have $1 million, you are entitled to one vote. One man, one vote. Yes, and you have a say. The credit union is governed by volunteers who are elected to serve by the members, and that's a difference, or credit union difference, owned and operated by its members.
There you have it. She's the Group Marketing and Communications Manager, Katrina Grant Diagula. In terms of you say you've been supporting the Women's Center now for 15 years. What can we expect going forward from you in terms of that support?
We'll definitely continue to provide financial support to the Women's Center Foundation of Jamaica. In addition to that, we've started a youth movement here in Jamaica, building out of the credit union movement, where the next gen change makers, 18 to 40, we're getting them involved in volunteerism. So we're looking forward to projects and programs that will be put forward by the Women's Center, and we'll be having our young persons involved in that, be it whether we're doing fundraising, whatever it is, but we'll be pushing them to that space and driving the spirit of volunteerism.
Excellent.
So Women's Center Foundation can rely on the credit union movement.
Excellent. Katrina Grant Diagula is the Group Marketing and Communications Manager at Credit Unions of Jamaica. They're one of the sponsors of tonight's charity ball for the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. They've been supporting them for 15 years, and you heard from Mrs. Grant Diagula that they will continue on into the future. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Really
you for having
appreciate
us. And join a credit union today.
All right. It's the benefits of belonging.
Yes, for sure.
That's the Group Marketing and Communications Manager at the Credit Unions of Jamaica, Katrina Grant Diagula. They're a sponsor of tonight's charity ball under the theme Together We Can. And the keynote speaker tonight is Prime Minister Andrew Holness. He's the keynote speaker tonight. Yes, the honorees, Dr. Zoe Simpson, International Game Technology IGT, and Sandals Foundation. It's 26 minutes after 8, and we're coming to you live for this special weekend edition of Nationwide at 5. We're broadcasting from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in St. Andrew for the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation Charity Ball 2024. It's being held under the theme Together We Win. We're now being joined by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. She's a supporter, big supporter of the Women's Center of Jamaica. And you heard from the Executive Director who highlighted Minister Johnson-Smith's support. I should also tell you, listeners, that Minister Johnson-Smith in 2013 moved a motion in the Senate for it to be mandatory for teen mothers to be in school. Thank you so much for joining us, Minister.
Thank you for having me.
And I want to start there.
Yeah.
Why did you think it important to move that motion for it to be mandatory?
I think I can't believe it's more than 10 years ago because it seems like just yesterday. I had actually been on at a conference discussing matters of population and development and was sensitized to the impact of adolescent pregnancies on intergenerational poverty. And it was in Turkey, of all places, but I got this burning desire to come back and look very closely at the issue, researched it, what was happening here, what had been happening over the years, the number of single mother-led households and how it correlated with poverty. And I found that the discussion about teen mothers and adolescent mothers had always so subsisted in an area of morality versus socioeconomics that I felt that a lot of people were missing the issue about about the importance and the impact. So I spoke to the Prime Minister about the issue and agreed. He approved my bringing the motion, and we were able, with this debate, robust debate at the time, but we were able to have unanimous support. Ronnie Thwaites was Minister of Education at the time. I was opposition spokesperson on education and youth. And it was a difficult issue because the discourse generally was grounded in I don't want to say judgmental, but in a language and a perception that ignored that pregnancy is not it's not infective. If you sit beside me in school, you're not going to get pregnant because I was pregnant. It missed the fact that if you were able to keep a young girl who had a child in school, you would be able to ensure that she would be less likely to have more children before she was ready to so do, and that she would be more able to take care of herself and her child, and therefore they would be able to have a better life. So that there was a cyclic impact that was necessary. It linked to parent training, etc. And thankfully it was passed, the policy was passed, but do you know the regulation still hasn't been changed?
Story of our life in
Listen,
Jamaica.
if I start, you won't get me off the mic tonight.
But it's interesting because that matter of morality and stigma keeps coming up in the interviews I've been doing this evening.
Yeah.
And I've been asking the interviews whether they sense that there's a shift, a change. And I wondered whether you have seen that.
I actually think that the society generally has become more tolerant and more understanding. You still have people who, I remember just walking in supermarket and people would stop me and say, "You are my daughter." There was a very aggressive stance, but I think that has shifted. I think people are still concerned, and I still have a concern about how it is that adolescent mothers are treated in school, because even when they do return, because remember there's a I suppose the care and the education that's provided by the centers themselves, and then there is what happens when they return, whether to the same school or another school. I think there still needs to be some work on making it systematic how they are treated with. Sometimes there are schools who will put them all in one class because there might be a community, a feeder community where it is chronic, and that causes its own issues because how they engage as a group and how teachers engage with them, which doesn't give you the best results. But where they are integrated generally, you get solid results. There are people here tonight, there are people across society who are amazing. They've achieved amazing things. And you would be surprised at whose mother was a member or a client of the Women's Center, etc. So I think it's still a very important thing for us to work on as a society, for us to be non-judgmental about it, because unfortunately a lot of the young ladies who are teen mothers really lack guidance and are in situations of abuse. Again, we tend to victimize the girls and not look to who the men are.
Right.
And they are more often than not men. And not boys, because we
right.
look very differently at that quote-unquote consensual teen relationship versus where there's a trust situation that's abused. I think as a society we haven't quite dealt with that yet.
You're no stranger to shattering expectations and glass ceilings. The first female Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in Jamaica. Oftentimes we put girls and women in boxes and tell them you cannot aspire outside of these four corners. And what I heard from the executive director and the former executive director is the importance of giving those girls the chance to dream beyond the circumstance.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about why that's important to you.
It's absolutely critical for them to realize that they are not defined by this change in their circumstances, and that is the most broad language I can use. That they can be and can do anything. It's not going to be easy, but the support of the center is one of the mechanisms, one of the societal or institutional mechanisms that can help. Because remember, in the communities now, for them to go back into school, you will have to have somebody who cares for the child. And that's a practical reality, and somebody you trust, because you realize that the world we live in is not the world that once was. And when people say it takes a village to raise a child, what do you do when you don't trust the village? Or the village is not trustworthy? You have a problem. So it has become, I think that the support that the center provides, to me, has become more critical as society recognizes how important parenting in the early years. When a girl understands that she can dream and she can still go and complete her degree, she can complete her diploma, she can complete a degree, and even if she doesn't do a degree, she can train in a skill, and she can make sure that her child and her health have a good life. It changes her mindset about what tomorrow looks like. It changes her mindset about how she engages with her baby, and how she engages with her baby changes what her baby's outcomes are likely to be, because there's all the scientific stuff that happens with the synapses and how it is that they learn to emotionally respond and deal with authority and boundaries. All of that is set in the first 1,000 days, you know. So it's really critical that these young girls get this kind of support, the support that's provided by the Women's Center. I don't think people understand fully the critical role that they play.
You said, Minister, yes, you think the stigma is changing, you know, that there have been shifts. But
it's not gone.
Right. You acknowledge that there are still people who have reservations. What would you say to them this evening?
I would say, think beyond your view, your worldview, because the issue of an adolescent who has had a child, or a teen who has had a child, is not about you. It is about how can you make a positive difference or a positive impact on the life of that girl and that child to prevent any further mistake, if we're going to call it that, and a positive outcome. How can you impact a positive outcome? Why say no to a reintegration if a reintegration will deliver a positive outcome? Why say that she done gone bad already if it is that a positive word and an inspiring talk once every month could deliver something different? Why would you want to? It's not about you, is what I would say.
I think that's a good place to leave it, because the official program I started, and the minister needs to be inside. But we were speaking with Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, a huge supporter of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. You heard the executive director talking about the bedrock, sterling support that she's been getting from the minister. And of course, it's important to remind you that it was Kamina Johnson-Smith in 2013 who moved the motion in the Jamaican Senate that teenage mothers, it was mandatory for them to be in school. I'll let you go now, Minister.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Really
Thank
appreciate
you for
it.
your interest.
All
Thank you.
right. We're coming to you live from the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel for the Charity Ball, the 2024 edition. All right, Minister. The Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. The theme, Together We Win. We were just joined by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. We'll take a break and come back with more.
Start today with GoDaddy.
All right, listeners, that's going to do it for us for this special Saturday edition of Nationwide at 5. We're at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel in St. Andrew for the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation Charity Ball 2024. They are celebrating under the theme, Together We Win. And all the guests have now arrived. They're inside the ballroom and they're about to get started. That's going to be it for us. Special thanks to our hardworking producer. I should work hard today. She deserves the pay. Yeah, she can't get the pay today. Yeah, Dana Davy. Well. Listeners, we are being joined by the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. He's the keynote speaker at this evening's charity ball. We also have with us the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange. Prime Minister, let me start with you in terms of the importance of the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation. How important is it?
It is probably one of our most important social intervention programs. And preparing for this event tonight would have led me to draw the conclusion that it is probably one of the most successful and better run of our social intervention programs. Indeed, its longevity is a testament to that. It started in 1978 and it has survived right throughout. It is indeed, it started out as a civil society initiative, but the government has played a critical role in it. The foundation is established in the way it is so that it can continue to attract private and civil support, and that has been very important in ensuring that the state is able to provide that service, which is so critical for many of our young girls and indeed the young boys and men who get into the situation of a teenage pregnancy. We have one in every parish, and it is a lifesaver for many. It is for me, eye-opener to learn that since its inception, over 50,000 young Jamaican women would have benefited from the services of the center, not just in the continuation of their education, but in the post-services of the counseling and the support and the assistance with employment. And now Minister Grange's A-Stream program is helping them not just to complete their secondary education, but to move on to tertiary education. Out of that 50,000 since its inception, 11,000 in the last decade, there are many success stories, many stories of women who have overcome, and they were able to overcome because of this. But it does draw into attention, and indeed it has captured my attention, that 50,000 in my mind is very high over this lifespan of 40 odd years. 10,000 in the last, 11,000 in the last decade is exceptionally high. So we do have a problem with teenage pregnancy. It hasn't risen in public concern because generally our birth rate is, almost at replacement, flatlining if not declining. So it hasn't caught on in the public discourse. But just looking at the statistics, it is a matter of concern because of the human suffering that happens around teenage pregnancy. The bringing to life, birthing a child should be, and it always is, a positive thing. It's being able to accept the gift of life. But the social and economic conditions around an unplanned, sometimes even unwanted pregnancy can be destructive almost to the mother and to the father of the child as well, and to the entire family structure.
Family unit and community.
So you can begin to see why it is so important that there is a support mechanism, because families don't always have the capabilities to deal with it. And we are having cases of 11-year-old, I'm told, as young as 11. We're having cases of 14-year-olds. And a lot of this, I don't like to venture on the subject, but when I was at the Ministry of Education, a decade ago, such a long time ago, the issue of incest played a critical role in my interventions through the Ministry of Education, because we saw it affecting children in school. And incest is a big part of this whole issue of teenage pregnancy. Family members molesting young girls in their families, and the result being teenage pregnancy. So this is something that we will have to pay attention to.
Yeah. Prime Minister, you spoke about the fact that this is one of the better run social intervention programs.
It is.
Right. What are some of the lessons that the government can learn from it in terms of other programs that are offered?
So let's look at it from this perspective. The government provides a budget, but it's largely a housekeeping budget. It's administrative and operational. But in terms of the capital side of it, the building of a new center, the upgrading of the center, the expansion of the center, and in terms of the programmatic aspect of it, establishing new initiatives to deal with new problems that emerge, the budget is not always agile in that regard. We're not always able to make the allocations. So the social partnership events like these, Minister Grange and her staff is to be particularly commended for being very agile in getting the private sector, civil society to support the initiative. So the lesson is that social intervention, if properly run and people can have confidence in the fiduciary management of it, it can attract significant private sector and civil society support.
How do we ensure that communities start to take things like incest, the rape of children, the abuse of our girls seriously, such that we can eradicate it once and for all from our community?
So look, there's so much government can do from a legislative perspective, but it has a limit. The truth is we have not reached the limit of enforcement. Government needs to pass the laws that are necessary, and we need to enforce them. And we need to enforce them ruthlessly for those people who molest our children, molest our young girls, impregnate them, for those who commit incest, and stop having this view and being almost apologetic for these kinds of behavior in our men and seek to dismiss them as cultural. We must, in today's world, having gone through all of this, having seen our sisters and mothers suffer, we must be very frank in saying that these offenders must be punished. But there continues to be almost a kind of reservation that is just a man stay and is a man thing, and this kind of social dismissiveness of the seriousness of the problem. And the only way to combat that is to pass the laws and then enforce them. Passing the laws have been a struggle. There is a legislative capacity, there is competition for the resources to put the laws through the various committees, but I'm happy to report that we are making progress. Minister Grange will tell you, is it the sexual harassment bill? It is now law, and all entities that fall under it have to now report a policy. So it's a good step.
In fact, the deadline is the end of June. Yes. 1 year
for compliance.
For compliance, yes.
And then we're at committee stage for the sexual harassment bill. Some people feel it should be a total repeal for the domestic violence bill. Some people think it should be a total repeal. Others think the bill in its current form can be improved. That may be the case. I leave it up to the committee to decide. But we need to move more quickly with the legislation, and then we need to enforce. I take great hope in the fact that the police have started to take a more deliberate approach in how they are enforcing on sexual harassment and domestic abuse issues. And so I'm expecting to see
that cultural response of man and woman problem, that's no longer the response.
I think that institutionally it is still there, but in terms of the leadership of the institution, they are working to change it. You're not going to change a decade or decades of culture overnight. It will take time, but from what I've seen from
there
the
are domestic
Commissioner of
violence
Police,
centers.
well, that's what I'm saying. From what I've
yeah.
seen from the police commissioner and all the top leadership and the investments that they have made in developing centers within the police and special centers that are not within police stations, that they are taking it seriously. And I'm expecting to see a mainstreaming of this that will reverse the culture of permissiveness.
And Prime Minister, if I could just highlight that the Bureau of Gender Affairs, the Women's Center, and the police work closely together. And even in the cases where teenage pregnancy, underage kids, it's reported to the police.
Yes.
It's reported to
Once
the police.
the girls come into the
Once
center.
the girls come into the center. Or if the girls go to the hospital or
Yes.
to a clinic,
Yes.
it's reported to the center, and then we intervene.
The executive director, Minister, she's described you as being the heart of what the center does. She says you do not waver in your support for it. And I asked Prime Minister Holness, why is it so important? But as the gender minister, talk to me a little bit about why you want to see this program continue, especially the A-Stream program.
It's extremely important because social intervention, particularly for our young girls, we have to ensure that we protect our girls and our women. They're more vulnerable. And you will find that our girls, even at the age of 11, they may be experimenting, they may be victims of sexual abuse, and unless there is a mechanism in place to take them through and to help them and to have them reintegrated back into the education system, then we would have a serious problem. We have enough problems in terms of violence with young boys and the girls sitting on the corner. So There are several programs that the government have. The heart program is extremely important as well. But with the Women's Center of Jamaica program, what we do, we literally hold their hands, take them through the pregnancy. We have nurseries at the 14 centers across the island. So while they're in class, after they've had their babies while they're in class, the babies are taken care of.
Yeah.
And we know where you find, it was basically experimenting. We take the baby fathers and we also assist them to be good fathers and to be skilled, trained in some skill. So it's important, and government, certainly this government, you have to have a heart. You have to put a human face on what you do. And the Women's Center program is one of such programs.
Yeah. Prime Minister, I know you have to give the keynote address, so I'm going to let you go. Minister, thank you so much. Really appreciate
Very good.
it.
Thank you.
That's the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. He's the keynote speaker at tonight's charity ball. We were also joined by Olivia Grange, the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. The Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation falls under her portfolio responsibilities. That's all the time we have for this special broadcast, this special edition of Nationwide at 5. Special thanks to Dana Davey, our producer, technical engineer Jermaine Compass, branding assistant Sheldon Richards. Our technical operator in studio is Sean Ferguson, and our business development executive, Diana Buchanan. Jamal Tucker, our videographer on location. I'm Ricardo Brooks. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening.